Welcome back to the laboratory. It's a busy week. I have a large event, 150 people at our Parker showroom for a mini trade show. And what does that mean for me? It's time for sous vide. It's the easiest way to cook a lot of protein, a lot of meat, quickly and consistently with a minimal loss of from shrinkage due to fat rendering and things like that. So we're going to review the sous vide process and how to sous vide large quantities. Hopefully these tips and tricks will help you out in your kitchen. Let's get started. All right, let's review our mise en place. I've got a large pot of water. Any water bath will do. I like to use a large pot because it's got two handles. It's easy to move around. Very convenient for that. Of course, I have my pre-vacuum packed strip loins. These are strip loins. I went ahead and I removed the majority of the fat. I trimmed the back. I pulled the strap off, the fat cap, and I vacuum packed these. And I vacuum packed these in a food saver. I like the basic food saver model. These I've seen in local grocery stores for as little as $69. So they become extremely affordable. The rolls of vacuum pack are also available at your local grocery store these days. Very convenient to own one of these. Of course, you can use the freezer bag method if you don't have a vacuum packer, but there's no reason not to have one of those these days. If you are planning on doing sous vide, I've got a roll of commercial plastic wrap. You'll see where that'll come in handy here in a little bit. And then a sous vide device. I have a new sous vide cooker. This is called the VP Cook. It's got a rather flimsy clip to hold it onto the side of the pot. That I don't like about it, but everything else I do. I like this unit very much. Very affordable at $50 on Amazon. I'll link that in the description below. Okay, so what we're going to do here, we're going to get our strip loins into our pot of water. This is a lot of volume. I don't know if this pot of water will be large enough. I think it will be, but if not, we'll go to a bus tub or even a sink. A large sink works very well. Anything that holds water. Because our food is vacuum packed, it's not touching directly the vessel that we're using to heat the water, so that's less of a concern. Before we move on, I'd like to thank all of you for watching, and especially those of you that subscribed. It means a lot to me. So if you haven't done so yet, go ahead and click that subscribe button, click the like button, and leave a comment. Let me know what you think of my videos. I appreciate it. I'm just going to tell you right now, not going to happen. So we're going to move over to a plastic tub, heavy duty bus tub that I got at the restaurant supply store. Now they're relatively expensive at $30 a piece, but they're extremely durable. The older style bus tubs are a little flimsy in comparison. Let's see if that same volume of water will do the trick. Again, this water's warm, formally hot. Yeah, I think we're looking good here. That's certainly a great start. Now, we are going to need to weight this down. I like to have a weight to make sure food stays under the water. There's always a little bit of air left over when you're using one of these home style vacuum packers. They don't do the best job in the world, so you're always going to have a little bit of air. So like I said, this is very flimsy, so what I'm going to do is just eliminate it. I'm just going to set that right there. That's enough. I'm going to move the camera here so you can see. That is enough to hold this in place. Now, we're not quite fully underwater, but you'll see here in a moment that we'll get everything adjusted, and this is going to work very well, and you'll be happy with this. Okay, so I've got that commercial plastic wrap. And that's going to be important here. I'm going to just scoot the camera back here so you can see the whole operation. Okay? And here's a little pro tip for you. You take some plastic wrap, just stretch. Now you've made a rope. And then the rope you can use to tie things onto corners to get the most out of the plastic wrap. Just nothing really to tie it to. Oh no! Okay, let me see here. Let me get this started. And we'll go back and get this going here. I'm not moving this around, so this might be a little extra work here that I don't need to do. Okay, I like this because it's automatically showing me the temperature. I know it's flashing on the screen there, but we're already up to 100 degrees. That's great. What do I want to set this temperature to? I'm gonna go 130. Okay, and time. I like to set my time for double the amount of time I think I'm going to need, and I'll tell you why. Because the longer sous vide cooks, the better it tastes. You know, and we're not in danger of overcooking, of course, because sous vide, once it hits its prescribed temperature, in this case 130 degrees, it can't get any warmer. So it cannot overcook. I'm going to go 10 hours. Okay, and the one thing I don't love about this particular unit is there's no on or off button. You just have to trust that it's going to kick on. Okay, now I do need a little bit more water, so I'm going to fill this. There is a max button there, so I'm going to show you how I'm going to make sure that we get even cooking. Max button, I meant max line. Make sure that we don't exceed the maximum water line on that. I find that if you do, you really shorten the life of these units. This is my third sous vide unit in 6 years of working. One of the things you can do here to weigh things down is I'll just take a couple bowls, fill them with water, just lay them on top. And actually that's perfect. I'm not going to need this. I'm right against the max line, and is everything underwater? Yeah. That's looking good. I can maybe go just another centimeter or two of water. Centimeter, look at me. Using metric. Crazy talk. Actually, that's perfect. I'm going to fill this bowl back with water. That's going to hold this down quite nicely. Like so. Beautiful. Now, I've got my commercial plastic wrap. What do I need that for? Well, we need to hold this heat in because we'll have evaporation otherwise, too much evaporation. Even though it's only going up to 130 degrees, particularly here in a dry climate like Colorado, you'd be surprised at how much water loss you'll get. So I like to take my plastic wrap and I push it directly against the water to create a vapor barrier to hold the moisture in and to help hold that pump in place. You saw me trying to use the plastic wrap as a rope, and that oftentimes works very well. But this new unit, like I said, that clip is extremely flimsy. You never know this when you're buying these things. I would say if you're buying a sous vide device, look for one where it's got a handle, a spring-loaded handle, and it'll open and close a clip so it'll clamp on the side of a pot. This is just a piece of molded plastic that will break. I'm surprised it's actually lasted as long as it has. I'm a little disappointed with that. Otherwise, the sous vide pump works very well. It's red as it's heating, and then it'll turn green when it's hit temperature. That visual indicator that it's working properly is actually quite nice. I can just glance over and know that I'm in the right temperature zone. Okay. So I'm going to let this go all day. And then the plan is I'll let this cool off. And then tonight I'm going to march these across the grill, get some nice grill marks on them with some Montreal steak seasoning. And then these will get carved tomorrow. I'm going to do like a chilled or room temperature carve. That way I don't have to heat up any food for this large event, 150 people. The fact is, if you're new to sous vide, it can feel intimidating the first time to try that. So start small. Start with a piece of chicken, or I like pork chops, even some frozen shrimp. You can do a couple of those IQF individual quick frozen shrimp, throw them in a bag, vacuum pack them, put them in the sous vide, let them go all day, and put a quick sear on them, either on your grill or in a pan, regardless of what protein you're doing. This also works very well with vegetables. But start small, give it a shot, and see how it reacts for you, how you like it. I would say the common home cook, I feel, tends to give up too soon. So If you have a recipe or a new cooking technique that seems complicated, give it a few shots. You'll be surprised at how quickly you'll be sous videing like a pro. I've been doing these kind of larger quantities of sous vide for years now. Sous vide's actually been around since the 70s, and it's something that is commonplace enough, particularly commercially, that chefs aren't intimidated by this anymore. So it's really a fun way to cook things. It's easy, it's mindless. I don't need to pay attention to this the rest of the day. Now I can get on with my prep list. I have a lot of work to do for a 150-person event. Okay, well, that is sous vide, large quantities of meat. If you have questions, of course, you can leave those in the comments for me. I respond to all questions, and I make videos based on your comments. So make sure that you check out the full channel. I appreciate you tuning in. This is Chef Mark in the Laboratory.